Welcome to Ladies of Another View on Beck, where you hear real news from real people. Today we have Hendy and Carmen and Patty joining us. It was kind of tricky getting into town today. It's kind of our first snowfall, or our first big snowfall of the season. And there was actually a little mishap going up Fort Lincoln Hill. And there was a pickup pulled over, a snowplow in front of it, and two deputy sheriffs trying to help this young man out. And so it slowed things down. But I actually drove 20 miles an hour to get here today, the last half of my drive.
You're so dedicated.
Well, I was just hoping I would make it.
And you were on time.
And I was on time, absolutely.
I live in town and I was late. So.
It's all right.
I made it.
You made it. We're all here, and we're excited to be here. You know, yesterday we had a story, or we pretty much concentrated on how the mainstream media isn't picking up what people want to hear. They're hiding stories. You're basically just getting what they want you to know. They're not giving you what you need to know, and they're picking and choosing what you get to know. And so it was interesting because we got a really nice email from one of our viewers. I don't want to read parts of it. It just, it goes, Mary, I didn't know what to expect the first time I watched the show. I refused to watch The View, and guess what? So do we. We kind of stopped doing that.
We could not take
that was kind of the premise of our entire show, is to watch The View and then give the details. But it's like, it was so well, we didn't get hazard pay, so and then we found out our viewers don't watch it anyway, so they don't know what we're talking about.
And we're nice.
That's right.
It was too much.
It was.
It was defiling our goodness.
No, and it was basically, it was so negative. Mm-hmm. It was hard to watch. It really was. Yes. And what they do is they take the two top news stories of the day and they talk about it, but they don't tell the entire story, kind of like the Paul Harvey of it, where now you hear the rest of the story. But we take the top stories anyway, so that's kind of where we're at right now. But anyway, I digress. And she goes, I refused to watch The View, so I was intrigued to see if there could actually be another view on television. If you watch news shows or even many television shows, you only hear one view, and it isn't my view. I've actually stopped watching many of my favorite television shows because they've turned political. I like to watch shows to be entertained, not to have more politics shoved down my throat. And, you know, even on the sitcoms, it seems like there's a lot of left ideology that's getting shoved down the viewer's throat. And so it's just so subliminal that, you know, and young people are watching those types of shows, and it's indoctrination is what it is.
Yep. I was just going to say, and there's so many stars out there that I just hate it, because I used to love their movies, and now I look at their movies and I go, why did you go political? You're just, you know, if you've got all those views, you can have them, but now I don't watch your movies in the same way, and I don't love them like I used to love them, and I wish they'd never gone there.
Right. And she said, I've only missed a few episodes of your show, but so often I tell myself I'm going to, okay, let me just move on a little bit here. It says, I really enjoyed today's show about the biased media. It is so true, and so many of my friends say it, but it seems we really can't do anything about it. My only option was to stop watching all news shows, including local stations, because I don't know what is true or what they are or aren't reporting. Because of the media, I find myself not believing anything I hear or read. That's sad. Patty mentioned Walter Cronkite, which was a great thing because, you know, back in the day, people didn't know what political party news reporters actually belonged to. They reported the news, and you got the news, and it didn't matter, you know, what political party they belonged to. And she goes on to say, why can't we have real reporters again instead of reporters giving their opinions or having their own agenda? I didn't watch the news to hear their opinions. I watched to hear facts and stories about what is and has happened in the world. Not anymore. And then she mentions even our local radio stations are just as bad, but only on a smaller scale. And she asked that we please do more shows about the biased media, and people need to hear that. And then she went on to say, please tell Beck thank you for allowing us to hear other views. And isn't that, I mean, it's beautiful, but yet it's kind of sad that thank you for allowing us to hear other views. And that's what the media is missing. It's like they're not allowing stations to have other views, or they pull their advertising, or they pull their funding. And that is what's so sad. If you don't report the news the way we want you to report it. We're not going to advertise. And we all know that advertising pays the bills. It really does.
Well, and you know, bigger is better has become the mantra for so many things, and even local news today is owned by the bigger boys and girls, and you don't necessarily, as a news anchor, get to say what you want to say locally either, and that's really sad because it's really, I think it's hurt our community a lot.
It has.
sure.
And I want to quickly go through a couple comments that we've received on our Facebook page. Really nice from different viewers. Here's one of them. Loving the show.
Aw.
It's sweet.
Thanks, Nellie.
Yes, thanks, Nellie. And there's a couple more that, and Patty McWilliams said, well said. And another gal, these were excellent perspectives and approaches. And then I think we have one more. It just goes on to show, what a fascinating guest. It's not often you find a talk show guest that gives us profound truths.
I'm really getting to like this show. Exclamation point. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know,
That
I
is
just want to touch on this. This the first comment that you read to us. It really is a gift that we've been given through Beck to have a show like this where people are craving actually what we are sharing and then to receive that feedback. I'm so grateful to be a part of it and to be able to share.
If there wouldn't be a show like this, that's why we came into being. We just thought nobody gets to tell the viewpoint that we can relate to. And so getting back to like CBS and Walter Cronkite, and I had mentioned yesterday Cheryl Atkinson, she worked for CBS for 21 years. And one of the things she said is you could not just report the straight news on Trump. There had to be a negative slant. And if there wasn't, then you were in trouble. And I have a friend who does media consulting in the Detroit area, Vanessa DeGamo, and she said right after Trump was elected that somebody she knew who worked at the network in their board meeting, they said, okay, we need to make sure that Trump doesn't get reelected. So the next 4 years, if there's any positive Republican news, we don't report it. If there's any negative Democratic news, we don't report it. And I can vouch because I just finally quit watching the nightly news. My whole adult life, I've watched it every single night. Even if there was something positive, they found a way to bash Trump.
Yeah.
Right.
Every single night.
Sure. So before we go at the end of this segment, we only have a few seconds left. I want to show a photo of the National Enquirer. I was actually at Dan's Super Value yesterday, and this is what it said, what Biden's son is hiding. You know what? It's pretty sad that we have to go to the National Enquirer to actually get news. This was always something that, you know, we kind of stayed away from in the 70s, that it was a joke that you didn't read the National Enquirer.
Totally.
But when the National Enquirer actually is giving more information on a hot topic than our mainstream media, then you know the mainstream media is definitely not doing us a favor.
Failing us.
And it's one of the tools I believe that they're using to confuse us as Americans by putting actual things that could be truth. We don't know that they are for sure, but they're putting it in a publication that we do not take seriously. And so it's discredited
I used to write for the National Enquirer,
Yeah.
and I stopped writing for them because I just didn't want to sell my soul. But they actually have their entire 8th floor of their building in Lantana, Florida, is fact-checking. And so they are often truthful, but they know when they can get away with not. So,
Yeah. That's fascinating.
but probably the stuff in that story is probably true.
Yeah.
Most
Well,
of
and
it
that's
anyway.
just it. But they want to discredit it, so they put it in the
Exactly.
National Enquirer.
Exactly.
Right.
Who
So-
believes the tabloids?
Right, exactly. So anyway, we have a lot more coming up today. We're going to talk about the Nashville bombings because you really haven't heard much about it anymore. It was just kind of that day of, and now it's kind of gone away. But we're going to talk about that right after this on Ladies of Another View on Back.
Capital City Restaurant Supply is your one-stop shop for quality restaurant products for the large to small kitchens. Commercial-grade restaurant and bar supplies, limb game processing equipment, refrigeration, dinnerware, and smallware. We sell everything including the kitchen sink from trusted manufacturers for the chef and all of us. Open to the public since 1971, we are veteran-owned and North Dakota proud. Let us take care of your restaurant and home kitchen needs today by visiting us at 1414 Interstate Loop in Bismarck or on the web at capitalcityrestaurantsupply.com.
Hi, I'm Dennis Hogan.
along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county. Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
With 68 years of experience serving our members, Hometown Credit Union is the smart choice for all your banking needs in Colm, Ashley, Hazleton, and now our brand new location in Lincoln. We offer auto, home, personal, and agricultural loans, CDs, IRAs, safety deposit boxes, checking and saving accounts, and more. Be sure to check out our convenient drive-through ATM as well. For great value and small town service, look no further than Hometown Credit Union.
Beck News brings you real people and real news. Every weekday on KNDB, KNDM, and KRDK. Start your evening with the Dr. Duke Show at 4. Take a fresh look at current events with Ladies of Another View at 4:30. Go down the road with Joel at 5:30. Watch No Apologies with Becker at 9. Cap off your night with No Filter with Debbie at 10. Beck News. Real people, real news.
Some things in life are hard. That's why banking shouldn't be. Cornerstone Bank.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck, where you hear real news from real people. And today, our second segment, we're going to talk about the Nashville bombing. And Kendi, you had sent me the greatest meme. It was about the FBI. You know, the FBI seems to think that they've closed this early. If we could pop that meme up, it was so funny. It says, so the FBI could solve a bombing in under a day, but give them Hunter's laptop, Hillary's emails, Epstein's black book, and evidence of play for pay in the Ukraine. Years later, they still don't know who did anything, right?
Yeah.
But they can solve a bombing in one day. So I just thought that was kind of unusual and ironic. But I just want to say, I think it's too early to call.
I think it's telling, actually. I mean, oh, you guys, this stuff just makes me get so frustrated when we look at things that are plain as day, and yet it's just, these are not the droids you are looking for.
Nothing to see here, folks.
Star Wars. I'm just like, this is crazy.
Yeah, nothing to see here.
Yes.
It's kind of like me with the whole COVID thing. I say I have this puzzle and it's unicorns and rainbows and it's a jigsaw, but none of the pieces will fit together, so I have to cut the pieces to fit, and then once I do that, then the picture is weird, so I can't see anything clearly anyway.
Right.
And it's kind of like that with their whole. They had FBI had Hunter's laptop for what, 18 months? Mm-hmm. They had information, nothing, absolutely nothing. You know, and speaking of memes, I'm just going to tell you, I had one here. Oh gosh, there it is. So voter fraud evidence galore all over the country. 0 FBI agents. Guy blows up a city block. The FBI are there within minutes. They find a speck of DNA and they know everything about the guy and they nail it in 24 hours.
Right.
I mean, it's selective just like the news media is. It sounds like the FBI, that's where they've gone. It's like, yeah, this will be a good one to promote, and the rest of it, we're going to let it go. You know, don't talk about that one over there because that's not part of the political correct whatever going on. It's just frustrating, like you said.
And
it's
if
very
someone
frustrating.
blows up a city on Christmas Day, don't you think that there's something more behind it, that it's not just a one-man show?
Right.
Although that the neighbors did say that, oh, he was going to make himself famous. they really thought he was working on some type of an app to make things better for our country, and he was going to release it that day. But let me just, I know we don't want to be conspiracy theorists per se, because there's a lot of conspiracy about what happened. Now, I had run across this video, and maybe you've seen it. There's a couple photos beforehand where there's actually like a trail of smoke going down to the city building, by the AT&T building. Yeah. And you can see it circled there by that light tower, that it's that white kind of plume going down. And then in the next photo, it will show you that that's the explosion. Now, we do have that on video too, so you can look for yourself and just take a peek at this, because it just, you know, did somebody make this video to throw people off the trail? Okay, if you play the video, please. But did they do that and make us all look like, you know, we don't know what we're, I guess there isn't a video, we don't have it attached. Oh, we do have it now. It's snowing out, right? So here, if you look, okay, you see that light, that third light pole, and now the explosion. Okay, we're gonna play it again in case you missed it, because you have to watch that third light pole. And it's going to loop again. And it looks like a chemtrail, for lack of better words, a chemtrail, right there. There's that plume, that skinny plume, and then you see an explosion. So did somebody make that video? Because now some of the news outlets that actually released it, now they're saying that it was a doctored video. I don't know, and I can't tell, but I just think because they hide so much, you know, we're going to leave it up to you to believe or not, because we don't know if it's real and the government or anyone wants to hide it from us, or if it's fake and they want us to go down that rabbit trail. So there's just so many questions.
But the problem is we can't trust the journalists to do their job.
Right.
No.
Because they have an agenda. And it's clear they have an agenda. If they were real journalists and they were investigating things, like I like to keep going back to, you know, Epstein did not kill himself.
Yeah.
Where's the curiosity? Journalists are supposed to be track down that story, find out the information. And they're not doing that anymore. They've got an agenda they're pushing. And so that leaves us to sit back and think, was this made up? Is it real? Because there's supposed to be people out there who can get to the information, digging it up.
I'm beginning to think that if I could see it one day, and like today, I tried to go in and research what's current with the Hunter Biden investigation or the scandal. The newest stuff that would come up on my screen was 2 weeks ago. Like, okay, there's been nothing happen in 2 weeks. No, that's not true, because I know I've seen stuff just yesterday of Ukraine releasing information of what went on in the Ukraine with Hunter Biden. And yet, would that pop on my screen? Oh, heck no. You know, so I'm beginning to think that if it disappears real fast, I probably am onto something, and it's probably not what they want me to know, and I'll try and keep digging down that rabbit hole then, because what I've seen over the last 10 years is that's usually what winds up coming out as truth. But boy, it takes a long time for it to get to be able to surface, because they're so busy trying to cover it up.
Yeah.
So
right. Well, some people had thought that the plume going down to the building at first, that it was a DEW, direct energy weapon, and there is also theories that started a lot of the California fires as well. And so that's where we go back to. It's like, is there something more going on? And that's what we're asking you to ask yourselves. Is there something more going on that mainstream media isn't letting us know or isn't talking to us about?
Yeah. So one of the things I wanted to say, you know, these are times that are challenging for us because we cannot figure out what is truth any longer. Right. And a lot of us, I mean, I haven't been trained as a journalist, but this year has really opened my eyes in regards to trying to get to the bottom of things. That is one good thing from COVID. I can say thank you for helping to open up my eyes and just doing my own research. But one of the things I thought about this morning as I was preparing for the show was, you know, so many people lost the ability to communicate during this time. I mean, they hit a building that involved cell phone communication, and we as a people, we have to be prepared for these things, especially if it was a deliberate attack on that building. We need to have things put in place so that we can communicate with people that we love And we need to find a way to not be so reliant on our electronics. I mean, this is really getting into me as far as being prepared, having a plan, and I think that it's important for all of us to do this. It really is.
Do you know, a few years back, people thought I was nuts, but you know, I started writing down all the numbers in my cell phone on paper. Because I used to tease people that didn't know their kids' cell phone numbers. Now I don't know all of my kids' cell phone numbers. It's like, you kids cannot change your number because now I don't even know. You know, I just go to your name and pop, there it is. But if I ever lost my cell phone or my contacts in there, my life, I can't even imagine. And I know we've got a nation full of me's. You know, what would we do?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I worry about that too with my kids. You know, they're in the college years in high school. What can I do if something happens and I can't get a hold of them? Anyway, we got so much more to talk about on Nashville. We kind of digress. It's the snow, I think, but it's great. It's been a great afternoon. We'll be right back on Ladies of Another View on Beck.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
In southwestern and south central North Dakota, on any given day at any given moment, a Dakota Community Bank and Trust customer is logging in or signing on to do their online or mobile banking. We believe that community banking can blend both the past with down-home customer service in-house and the future with modern banking conveniences and technology for our customers anywhere, like here or here, all while honoring our long-standing tradition of community-first oriented banking here at Dakota Community Bank and Trust.
My wife was diagnosed with early stage Alzheimer's. We talked about it and we kind of decided we'd be a little bit proactive and try to start making provisions. So we started looking here, and Eventide worked out to be pretty much the perfect answer. I guess I didn't expect it to be so nice. The staff here are terrific. We enjoy it.
They say when the going gets tough, the tough get going. At OK Tire, we're here to keep you going. From Firestone tires and replacements to retreads and even Firestone tracks, we have you covered. Our certified Firestone experts are ready to get you back up and running, no matter if you're on site or in the field, saving you time and money. OK Tire, we keep the tough going.
The professionals at Superior Glass provide residential and commercial glass installation and repair services in central and western North Dakota. Superior Glass is your source for stained glass projects, mirrors, windows, touchless and automated entry solutions. Stop by and see us at 3323 East Broadway in Bismarck or call us at 701-258-5600. Superior Glass, where you get superior service for less. Bye for now.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. You know, we just had that last commercial. If you guys stuck around and please pay attention to our advertisers because that's what makes this whole show go. But that was Jan. So she's one of the co-hosts that sits right next to us, you know, a few days a week. But that was really nice because I've never been inside of her store, but it's Superior Glass. So it was kind of fun to have a little pop-up of Jan today. That was interesting. Yeah. Okay, well, let's get back to the Nashville bombing. We have a video to show you. This was the day day of the bombing, just a couple hours after it had occurred. It's the mayor out on some steps giving an interview about the bombing. So I want you to take a peek at this.
You know, this is the only explosion that's going to happen in Nashville today.
The only bombing that's going to happen in Nashville today. There's a lot more to that video, but yeah, but he just chuckled the whole time. He went on to say,
It's
well,
bizarre.
there's a lot of water mains, and that kind of adds to it too. And then he's laughing about that. But what mayor in their own sound mind would actually do an interview like that and laugh about this huge explosion that damaged over 40 billions and pretty much blew up the downtown area? You know, you talk about COVID stopping something. A bomb's going to stop each and every one of those buildings from doing anything now too, because the whole area is cordoned off. One of my daughters was going to go down there on January 6th. She's canceled her trip. It was some college girls that were going down for kind of a spring break or winter break. So that whole area, so not only does COVID shut down a town, but now he thinks it's funny that the bombs shut it down too.
Yeah, that is so sad to me, actually, and it's caused me to just think about how I have been so disappointed with a lot of our leaders this year. You know, so many people are struggling financially, and like you've said, we have had COVID to deal with, and now these people are now being faced with the loss of buildings and being able to go and do their business. It's just, you know what? We need real people to be our leaders. This is disturbing.
And did anyone else find it interesting that it was right in front of the AT&T building?
Definitely
and
noticed
of course,
that.
there are, and again, there was so much information that was available, and now I just can't seem to find it anymore. But they said that the Dominion servers were either in that building or being transferred to the building for the forensic testing. And so were they trying to blow up these Dominion servers in that building? I mean, there's just so much, and there's so many coincidences.
Right. Well, and you know, there were a lot of gunshots before the explosion. There were gunshots. Was that the good guys and the bad guys having something go on? And then, you know, did they know there was a bomb? You know, was the bomb even in that RV? Do we know? You know, and it's interesting because I'm just going to read this. This is from a source that I trust very much. They have proven themselves throughout a year of me being with them. But AT&T got a contract to do a forensic audit on Dominion voting machines, and those machines were being moved to Nashville this past week. The former owner of the AT&T building in Nashville, William Kennard, is a board member for Cerberus Capital Management and AT&T. He also was Bill Clinton's FCC chair and Obama's ambassador to the EU. Dominion Voting is owned by Cerberus Capital Management. Cerberus is run by Staple Street execs. Joe Biden's brother-in-law, Steve Owens, is the co-founder of Staple Street execs, along with William Kennard, who was just mentioned above. So there's this circle of players that if you've been following politics for a while, like I have, I would say the last 10 years, it was amazing to me, out of the millions and millions of people in this country, there were programs out there where you could do circle connections of who's connected to who. And as you built out that circle, it would be the same players. Sooner or later, they're all wind up connected, but yet they're a very small circle. And I keep running into some of these names, and it's like, is that all coincidence? I find that hard to believe. I think there's too many coincidences for there not to be some sort of facts in all of that.
Well, let me show you another coincidence. We have a photograph, and this is something Kendi had brought to the table, a photograph of Venezuela when the building down there, which housed over 50,000 Dominion voting machines, that one also mysteriously blew up and caught fire.
In March of this year.
Right.
And just to give a little bit of history in regards to Venezuela, I think it's important for us to know, and it's especially given what's happened in Nashville. You know, they were voting for their elected official to lead them, and there is a lot of suspicion that the Dominion voting machines used there were used for fraud. And now we are in the election year for the United States of America, and we are facing the same type of accusations that Dominion voting machines have been used for fraud. So in March, the building that housed the majority of the machines in Venezuela caught fire. It destroyed every single building, all their computers, all the data. And now we have this rumor in regards to the building in Nashville, Tennessee, where either the Dominion machines were going to go to or they were there, and now there's this bombing that has impacted that building. It's so, I'm not stupid. And I know that there has to be some connection. As Americans, we are being played. We are being played.
And so now what they're trying to do is they're trying to prove that it was just a crazy lone kook, and he was afraid of 5G. 5G was coming to get him. And I know, Patty, you had some information on the 5G.
Well, I looked up some of the 5G stuff because I've been ignoring it because it's a higher radio frequency than 4G. And I know the latest is that it was causing COVID because they were putting up some of these 5G towers in Wuhan, China. And so maybe that's where it came from. So I don't pay attention to that. And he might have been a lone kook, but he might not have. Right. There is Vince Foster. There is, people talk about the Clinton body count. And sounds crazy. But if you start reading, you're reading the stories and the information, gee, it is a lot of coincidences. And you know about the mafia, they make people disappear. So these things do happen. And the fact that his body was blown to shreds, you wouldn't know if he was already killed ahead of time. Was he used to cover up something else? Or really what? There are lone kooks that do those kind of things too.
Right. But how do you know they found his body? All I heard was there was a cap and a pair of gloves in the motorhome,
and DNA.
That they had DNA then, and they got DNA from the mom, and sure enough, it was his DNA. So of course, it was him that was the bomber, and that was that. Where was the body? Is it blown to smithereens? We've not heard a word about the body.
When they close something that quickly, when they usually government moves like a snail, police investigations are forever, and when they just snap their fingers and it's done, we're all done, just was him.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, wait a minute, don't you want to make sure? Don't you want to look a little deeper?
Right. Something I do want to touch on that has been going in my mind today, when we hear these things and we discuss them on the show, sometimes we can be filled with so much fear, and we just feel like the sky is literally falling. I mean, it's so scary. There was one story from all of this that I found to be so hopeful, and it came from one of the police officers. There were 6 who initially went down when the calls were out that a bomb was going to go off. And so one of the officers, I want to read you, these are his words. His name is Officer James Wells, and he said, "I literally hear God tell me to turn around and go check on Officer Topping, who was by herself down on Broadway. As I turn around, for me, it felt like I only took 3 steps. Then the music stopped, and as I'm walking back towards Topping, I just see orange and I hear a loud boom." And he said that when he said, "I literally heard God speak to me." I want us all to just realize that God is in control here. I know that we can feel terrified with what we're seeing, but just like this man, in that moment of need, God reached out to him. I know he will reach out to us. And so as we discuss and we start to feel those feelings of fear, this isn't like a religious show, but God is so central to our country. He should be to our lives, and so we should not fear. He is in control.
Well, and it's on every dollar we've ever spent. In God we trust.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So
exactly.
Anyway, we have so much more, and we didn't get to all of it today, but we do have to talk about some Christmas clutter in our next segment. So we're going to be right back after these messages on Ladies of Another View on Back.
Howdy folks, it's the Canon Cafe. I reckon it's time you're due for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our hay-bussin' breakfast homemade soups. Fill your grill at our salad bar, sink your teeth into our famous Canon burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spoon-rattling pie with a combo roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the gang. Tell them about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the county line.
Since opening in Hebron in 1940, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your hometown bank. Our mission has been to provide modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. We've grown with the communities we serve through year-round events, countless sponsorships, and nearly 7,000 hours of volunteering each year. Learn more about our 80-year history at dakotacommunitybank.com.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
For the greatest selection and full menu offering, it's the Four Seasons Restaurant and Ice Cream Parlor in Garrison. Succulent sandwiches, big breakfasts served all day, and delicious desserts. Easy access in and out for campers and RVs. The Four Seasons Restaurant at the top of Main Street, Garrison.
With 68 years of experience serving our members, Hometown Credit Union is the smart choice for all your banking needs in Colm, Ashley, Hazleton, and now our brand new location in Lincoln. We offer auto, home, personal, and agricultural loans, CDs, IRAs, safety deposit boxes, checking and saving accounts, and more. Be sure to check out our convenient drive-through ATM as well. For great value and small town service, look no further than Hometown Credit Union.
Some things in life are hard. That's why banking shouldn't be. Cornerstone Bank.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. We're going to lighten things up a little bit this time. We're going to talk about Christmas clutter. Now, we had a great Christmas, and I hope you all did too.
Definitely.
I just had some family that left. The last family that was staying with me left today, and we have more family coming. They're staying at my sister's place, but so Christmas is not over yet. But you know, it's so funny because after Christmas, after everybody leaves, you are left with all of this clutter. And it's like, it could be decorations, it could be presents, it could be unwanted presents. And it's like, to me, every year I say this, you know, because it's kind of funny. I went up into my attic in the garage, and you can't even tell I took boxes out of there, because what I do, I'm so bad at this. I go post-Christmas shopping and pick up things for next year, Christmas decorations and that kind of stuff. But then I always bring my old favorites out. And so I have boxes of stuff that I have never, ever, ever, ever used. And so that's a little bit embarrassing. But there are a few things that I thought of, like, why not take the money that we'd normally spend on buying each other gifts and maybe just take a family trip? And it doesn't even have to be far, but just do something as a family unit. If you have families, I know some people, you know, don't have large families, but just something, a quality time with another family or with a neighbor or with a friend, and do something instead of spending all this money on presents and decorations. You know, let's get back to almost like, you know, the little drummer boy, when he came, all he had to offer was his song, and it was just precious. It's like, let's offer each other and our talents rather than all of this materialistic type stuff. Yeah. I know Carmen was showing us a meme about the little drummer boy, and this is kind of fun. We don't have it to show, but she's going to tell us about it.
Well, I'll paraphrase it, but it said, and Mary, just laying back from finally getting Jesus to sleep, totally exhausted, ready for rest, enters the little boy that says, I think I know what this lady needs. It's a drum solo. And isn't that true? Like when you have multiple children and you finally get the angry baby to sleep, and then the older ones start screaming or something, you know. But we went all the way from, you know, I was thinking when you were talking, Mary, you know, we just got back from a trip to see one of our kids and some of our grandkids, and it was so fun, and we wound up having a Nerf gun war. I mean, that was
and they
probably
will remember that.
That's it was the most fun, you know, and it was the adults against the kids. And, you know,
that's so awesome.
It was just fun.
I hope you just creamed them, I hope.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
No mercy for those grandkids.
They were hiding behind boxes, you know.
The adults get into it even more because it's like, we get to do this. You know, now that you have this topic, I just thought of it just now. One year, our youngest son, Isaac, said, no, I didn't want any presents. And when somebody tells you that, you're like, what? What do you mean no presents? I want to get you something. He said, no presents. But the siblings, all the kids and the in-laws, they will pick names. So his brother-in-law, Cole, our daughter's husband, had to come up with, well, what are you going to give Isaac for Christmas? Because he said no Christmas presents. So he made him a coupon book.
Oh.
And it was so cool.
Yeah.
He said, you know, one was we're going to go to the movies together. And I forget some of the other stuff, but he made up a whole coupon book of stuff that they were going to do together.
That's awesome.
That's good.
Yeah, and these weren't little kids either, but it was fun.
Yeah.
See, and that's what, it's just more meaningful, you know. But a couple things, I had talked to a Christ the King school over in Mandan. I talked to, her name, it escapes me for a second. Okay. Anyway, I talked to her, and then I also talked to St. Joe's because we kind of go to the different churches over there, and suggested to both of them that they have a Christmas decoration sale next year. So as you guys are undecorating your house now, which by the way, you're supposed to keep it up until Epiphany anyway, but as you start undecorating, if you have extra things, set them aside, because we also have Seeds of Hope downtown, and a lot of people will go down there for secondhand decorations, but they're actually most of these things are brand new. I have found Lenox china at the Seeds of Hope, and so both of those elementary schools over there, it would be a great fundraiser to collect all this stuff, and then just say maybe Thanksgiving weekend, where a lot of people start decorating, or maybe the weekend after Thanksgiving, have a fundraiser like a Saturday, and just a great big garage sale type thing in the gymnasium where you get rid of this Christmas clutter.
So kind of going off of what you said in regards to taking things down, how, you know, we're kind of at that point where people are going to start taking down their decorations. Well, I have an idea to help with your clutter and not taking a certain aspect of your decorations down, and it comes from personal experience. And this happened when we were in Arizona. Here, it's going to be perfect, and you're going to say, thank you, Kendi, for this idea. But we had put Christmas lights on our house, and we put white and red lights all over. And both my husband and I did not want to take them down, not because we liked having them on the house, but because we just didn't want to go through the work of taking them down. Well, they were hooked up to our porch light. So you turn the porch light on, and those Christmas lights went on. So after Christmas, we were like, don't turn the porch light on. Well, Valentine's Day rolls around. Our lights are still on the house in Arizona. Okay, so that's not normal. And my husband and I go on a date, and I was thinking to myself, oh no, what if the babysitter turns on the porch light? So we get home, and our house is like lit, red and white. And I'm like, you know what? It's Valentine's Day. I love you. And we're all celebrating the fact that we love. So you can leave your lights up on your house, and on Valentine's Day, especially if they're red and white, turn them on to signify that you love each other.
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah. That's adorable. Our neighbor, when we were growing up, they always had their lights up all year round too. And if you would plug them in, then, I mean, you'd sneak into their garage. Back when you could sneak into the neighbor's garage without getting shot, we'd sneak in and plug their lights on. And of course, it was always kind of the town joke to go ahead and turn their lights on. But, you know, so there are fun things to do.
Right.
Yeah, but that's a great idea, Kendi. It really is.
You know what? We took the lights down the next day.
Well, we have a neighbor who works for Beck, who keeps their
remain nameless.
Unnamed.
He knows who he is, he and she. They keep the two Christmas trees lit up all year round. And it's nice in summer, you know, it's July, and you go in there, and there's these beautiful little Christmas trees. They're not little, they're like pretty good size, but
Right.
they're up all year round, and it just gives you a nice warm feeling.
I like that too. My mother-in-law used to do that, and we'd buy her like Easter decorations and Valentine's decorations and 4th of July decorations because she did suffer some depression, and especially in the winter after Christmas is gone, family's gone, and then we get our, the next coldest 2 months probably, and it does get a little bit depressing and lack of vitamin D, and so she had always kept her tree up as well. So that is a fantastic idea.
Yeah, it's really good.
So
It really
maybe
is.
we'll have to stop over and bring him some decorations.
Those trees are pretty loaded. But my husband bought a tree. It looks like an evergreen tree, but it isn't. I don't know what it's called. It's like about this big, and it's a plant. So we put Christmas bulbs on it, and we'll just take the bulbs off, and we'll have our little plant year round.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe we should keep the bulbs. Maybe our neighborhood could kind of start the Christmas spirit thing all year round.
I like that. It probably could help us, with the heaviness of the year.
Yep.
That lightness
But I know a lot of
Christmas.
people like to clean up,
Yes,
get
totally.
everything out of the way. And then what a great idea. I love that idea as a fundraiser.
Yeah.
Oh, you can make lots of
Yes.
money because, like I said, there's Lenox China. There's all
Nice
kinds
stuff,
of goodies.
yes. Yeah.
And people are willing to pay that and just have it as a free will donation. And these kids, they always just make sure that the kids are there working it, and the adults, they'll pay anything for these young people that are hardworking. And it's for a good cause. It's for their schools. And so I hope they both do it. I told them both I would help. So
You're so sweet.
well, I don't know about that, but I do like to help and whatnot. So I hope they take it to heart. But then, let's talk about unwanted Christmas gifts. You could donate that too. That can all be donated and put towards a fundraiser of some type.
Well, the grandkids that we just went to see, the schools out there, it's another state, but they take and they just have, and it could be donated items. They don't do it. I think the school buys up items, but it's just little like dollar things or whatever. But then the kids get to go shopping for their parents and their siblings and all that. And they get to get these gifts, and I thought, wouldn't that be fun for a lot of these kids if they could have enough donated items that they could pick out gifts for family members or their friends or whatever, and be able to, maybe even wrap it up there, and learn how to wrap a present.
They used to do that at Christ the King. I know when my kids went there, they did have a Christmas store, and so you could go through and shop and donate what you will for it. So that is a great idea. And they also wrapped them there too. So you can have these kids that don't have much to give. They can shop for these items and give them away as gifts. And it gives them so much pride that they're able to give something.
Right.
So anyway, we're going to be right back with a lighter side right after these messages on Beck.
Howdy, folks. It's the Canon Cafe. I reckon it's time you're due for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our Hey Bossin' breakfast homemade soups. Fill your grill at a salad bar. Sink your teeth into our famous Canon burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spoon-rattling pie with a calm roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the gang. Tell them about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the county line.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county. Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota. Capital City Restaurant Supply is your one-stop shop for quality restaurant products for the large to small kitchens. Commercial-grade restaurant and bar supplies, limb game processing equipment, refrigeration, dinnerware, and smallware. We sell everything including the kitchen sink from trusted manufacturers for the chef and all of us. Open to the public since 1971, we are veteran-owned and North Dakota proud. Let us take care of your restaurant and home kitchen needs today by visiting us at 1414 Interstate Loop in Bismarck or on the web at capitalcityrestaurantsupply.com.
My wife was diagnosed with early stage Alzheimer's. We talked about it and we kind of decided we'd be a little bit proactive and try to start making provisions. So we started looking here, and Eventide worked out to be pretty much the perfect answer. I guess I didn't expect it to be so nice. The staff here are terrific. We enjoy it.
The professionals at Superior Glass provide residential and commercial glass installation and repair services in central and western North Dakota. Superior Glass is your source for stained glass projects, mirrors, windows, touchless and automated entry solutions. Stop by and see us at 3323 East Broadway in Bismarck or call us at 701-258-5600. Superior Glass, where you get superior service for less. Bye for now.
Now is the best time to plan for your 2021 farm equipment needs. North Dakota-based Summers Manufacturing is currently offering early order savings. Take advantage of big savings on North America's broadest tillage line, including the Super Kohler Samurai and the innovative VRT Renegade, as well as the best built, best backed land rollers in the industry. Talk to your Summers dealer today or go to summersmfg.com to learn more about early order savings available on all Summers equipment.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View. I'm back. This day just flew by again. It just seems like every one of these shows, we just get so entwined in these topics. And you should hear the discussion in between.
That's what I was going to say. We don't stop
right?
during
We
the
don't
commercial.
stop. When the commercials, that's when we get the good stuff. And it's like, oh, I should have said this. I should have said that. So sometimes we will add to a segment. But anyway, this is what we call the lighter side. And so this is a little boy who saved his birthday money to help the homeless. And so we're going to show this clip here really quick. It's just adorable. It was on another news station. So let's take a look at this one.
When Bryson Galt turned 11 last month, he didn't ask for lots of expensive gifts. He simply wanted to give back to others.
Not a lot of people get to have this opportunity to get things, and during the pandemic, a lot of people lost their jobs and they can't go to the jobs, so they don't have a lot of food and toys.
Bryson received $150 in birthday money and asked his mom if he could use it to feed the homeless. Well, that's exactly what he did. Bryson and his mom went to Chick-fil-A, bought 20 meals, and gave them to the homeless living in Augusta. It's something his mom will never forget.
As we were pulling away from feeding the homeless for his birthday, the Chick-fil-A, and he said, "Mom, do you feel that?" And I said, "Feel what?" And he said, "Those chills from God." And honestly, I felt those chills from God.
Wow. Isn't that sweet?
I bet everybody hearing that got chills at the same time.
I did.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I did.
So we just need more people. And I know we kind of preach about that on our show, but I think it's a good thing to preach about, just to be kind to each other and help each other. And if there's something you can do for each other, but this is, we can learn lessons from an 11-year-old boy.
Yeah.
That's what's so adorable about this. You know, people are losing hope for a younger generation. Don't lose hope, because there's a lot of great kids out there doing great things.
Yeah, that's amazing. I have a little thing hanging on my wall that says, if you can be anything, be kind. What an excellent example, seeing that from an 11-year-old.
And he gave everything he had. He gave all his birthday money. He didn't say, well, I'll give some of it. He gave the whole thing.
Yeah.
And how many of us, we have everything we need?
Right.
You know? We could give more.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's so many things out there, you know, and I know this time of year a lot of people are doing their year-end giving, and gosh, it's hard to even comprehend how much need there is out there that you can donate, even if it's $1, even if it's $5. There are so many people that are helped by these organizations that are out there as well, and that year-end giving it's life-saving for a lot of these places.
And when you look at even like the Salvation Army, when they're ringing the bells and whatnot, they were really short. They were, it by half? I don't know the exact figure, but it's like, because people don't have a lot to give. You know, some people have been hurt financially by the pandemic. And so what I say to that, if you haven't been hurt, then we need to step up and give more. So those that already give more, you know, because there are some that can't give at all. And so it takes a village to raise a village, I guess.
And those who give and those who receive all are blessed in the process. Yeah. You can't help but have that shine rub off on both of you.
Yeah. And there's so many creative ways to give too. You know, we talk about decluttering. Go through your house. There's so much stuff you don't need, and you can either donate it or you can sell it. Sell it on, you know, used. There's all kinds of marketplace and Bisman. sell it and then donate that money.
Absolutely. And you can even, when you sell on eBay, you can donate 10% or even more to an organization. I'm actually working with St. Joe's over in Mandan right now. They're trying to get it, so you can just, so that would be just 10% right off the top.
Awesome.
But anyway, we're really short. We just have a couple minutes left, and we want to give you the phone numbers to our senators and our congressmen. Right now, President Trump needs our help. He needs all the help he can get. And if you can give them a call, email them, talk to them, tell them to support President Trump in his contesting the election. You know, the certification takes place on January 6th, and we need to pray for Vice President Pence as well, because he has a big role to play that day. He could actually bring the hammer down, and we'll talk about that tomorrow. But we have got to support him if you want our country back. And that's all I can say. So feel free to reach out to them and call them once, call them twice, call them 10 times. We've got to get the message across.
Yeah, they are our elected officials. We've put them into office, and as citizens, it's our responsibility to contact them, to let them know how we feel and that they are to represent us, the people. And so I'll leave it at that.
Right? No, but, and it's true that, sometimes I think the Supreme Court threw out that case from Texas that was contesting the election, saying that the Texan voters were not affected by the vote because the fraud wasn't alleged in Texas. Well, to me, if this election is handed to Joe Biden, knowing how much fraud is out there, that does affect the voters in Texas.
Absolutely.
It definitely affects the voters in every state in this nation.
Sure.
And we need to know that there's voter integrity.
Yes. Absolutely. Okay, we're going to have those photos up, up until at least January 6th. But we just have maybe 45 seconds for any final thoughts. Anything you want to say?
Enjoy the snow! Yay!
Yeah, we're having another family Christmas at our house this weekend, and so this snow, I think there'll be some sledding going on. It'll be a lot of fun.
And drive carefully.
Yes.
You got to get used to the snow all over again.
Right.
Right. It doesn't happen often, and we are really lacking in moisture. We farm and ranch, and this is a blessing. We really need the moisture. But just be safe out there and enjoy I'm looking out the window now, but enjoy the weather. Enjoy, because God has given us so much. So we get all 4 seasons up here. But come back and see us again tomorrow on Ladies of Another View on Beck, where you get real news from real people.
Beck News brings you real people and real news. Every weekday on KNDB, KNDM, and KRDK. Start your evening with the Dr. Duke Show at 4. Take a fresh look at current events with Ladies of Another View at 4:30. Go down the road with Joel at 5:30. Watch No Apologies with Becker at 9. Cap off your night with No Filter with Debbie at 10. Beck News. Real people, real news.